baby, it's time to ride the funk train, and we may need to get a funk ambulance up in here because my friend John Stoll, that you know so well, is not feeling so hot, man. What's going on over there in Toledo?
I don't know, man. There's you know what it is? I had a kid's birthday party today,
Germ
and
factories.
yep, anytime you're around a bunch of kids, oh, it's not good. I think it was about
No.
a year ago. I got sick for that one episode of the podcast you did, but this time I'm toughing it out.
Well, and also remember, one time I got sick and couldn't do the podcast, and then you fired me right after. And I'm not going to fire
Well,
you.
mine was excused.
Oh, I didn't. I thought the note. I thought bringing a doctor's note was a joke. Did you really want one?
Yeah,
Oh
signed.
shit.
And well, I don't know. I can't think. But yeah, we
Hey,
got
it's gonna be good tonight.
right. Um, yeah, we got some exciting stuff to talk about, Vinny. It's a shame I'm not feeling well because I'm super excited for what we got tonight.
You were real excited about it, and that's why you wanted to. I kind of thought after we had our second annual Fuji Awards, you'd let that simmer and let the podcast anticipation build up a little bit. But you were like, let's do this thing about the GameStation Pro, and I'm much more prepared
All right.
today than I was last. I tried to watch the thing from last week, and I was like, Circus Interstellar, is that a game you play? You know, I wasn't very well with it last week, but I did some research, and I gotta say, let's do the positives first, and then we'll have the concerns. But I think a lot of people are excited about this thing, man.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of hype surrounding it, and I think the big thing is right now we're at that point where it could be anything, it could do anything. We
That's
still
true.
have high hopes. I think some things have been put to bed on it, unfortunately, but there's still, I think, some big possibilities. So
yeah, you're right. We're in this romantic stage with it, where it's going to be everything we've ever wanted. We actually have some stuff in the comments right now about things that are like, I don't know, guys. I mean, yeah, all the recharge games. You know, do we have a retail price for what this thing's going to be yet?
yeah, they announced it at $149.99.
Ooh, that's a little bit. That's more than the 7,800 plus, man. That's a nice chunk of change.
Yeah. Well, this is supposed to be a premium product, I believe, from the price point and everything that they're talking about.
That's very interesting because, like, the little tiny, like what we were talking about on the Fuji Awards show that we just had a week or so ago, the little pocket, mega super funky pocket or whatever it was called that you've got, that's only like what, $50, $55. So this is a whole.
Oh yeah.
This is a whole bit Ben Franklin more than that thing.
And that was it the Pocket Pro or the Super Pocket Mega Tech thing? So this can play again, cartridges, all kinds of stuff. Where I believe the GameStation Pro or the GameStation Go, I'm sorry, is going to come out. It'll have a set number of games on it. There won't be any more official releases, but I think that won't matter too much, as we'll see here in a second.
Right. All right. You want to jump in?
Yeah. So this is what we got about 2 weeks ago, I think now. We hadn't heard anything on the GameStation Go for a long time. They announced it right after the GameStation Pro, the TV one, and then nothing forever. I kind of thought it got axed because I didn't hear anything about it.
Oh, so this is part of the family of the GameStation that we were talking about last week that people are selling for like $35 on Facebook Marketplace now.
Yep. So this was kind of an additional thing. I think initially they were talking Q3, Q4 of 2024. And of course that came and went. So it kind of came out of nowhere that they re-revealed it. And they put out this trailer a week before CES 2025 to get everybody, I think, back into the mindset or back into just to reintroduce them to it.
It's interesting. There's a lot of There's a lot of interesting things about this game. I mean, they I don't know if you saw the videos, but they're going to release actual controllers
Yep.
that go into this thing, and one of the controllers has a screen on it like the old Dreamcast or maybe like a Wii U, and it looks like a Switch controller, really, except it has trackball, paddle control, and number pad on it that connects to this little thing. And then they've got one that looks like a fight stick that's got a paddle and a trackball on it. And that thing looks badass. And again, anytime somebody releases something like that, I'm like, is the quality of these controllers going to be any good? And also, why would you buy this if you need a bunch of controllers? I guess it's if you start playing 2-player games. And when you have a fight stick, it makes you think, are you going to be able to play things on it like Street Fighter and stuff, or what?
Yeah. I again, we'll get into it a little bit. Let's get into the things we know for sure before we speculate a little bit. So right here is a good shot, I think, of the front of the unit. You can see it's kind of hard to see, but on I guess we'll start on the right hand side of the screen. You got the 4 face buttons and then a number pad there, and the number pad should allow for 5200 compatibility. And I think, well, again, we were speculating some other stuff, but we know for sure 5200. The other thing about these buttons, Vinny, did you hear about the how they light up?
Yeah, and like the other thing is too, and I guess we should say this too on the other side. I don't know about the do the number buttons? Is that what you mean? The number buttons are what light up?
All of them.
Yeah. Well, I think what's cool is you have the paddle controller, the regular directional pad, and then the trackball. And what control that you need to use for the game lights up. I think that's really cool.
Yep, that's whatever control, whatever buttons, it's all supposed to light up. So you're not. One thing that I don't like about these units is you turn something on and then you hit every button to see, okay, which one's going to do whatever. So this will light up and tell us what will work and what won't. It does have the 16:9 screen. A lot of people were crying foul on that since a lot of the retro games were 4:3, but I think they've had a reason for doing that.
Well, you'll see it. I guess we're going to play a trailer and you'll see why.
Well, here was somebody else's coverage on this. Somebody that attended CES was invited, showing it off here. And again, in the hand, it looks bigger than a Switch, right? And that's Wii U size, you'd say?
That looks like, it looks like about the size of a Wii U.
Okay, so
slightly bigger than a Switch. I think it's definitely taller than a Switch.
The interesting thing, so that guy in the red there, let me put it back for a second.
I've got red glasses. I can't. Everybody's wearing pink right now.
Well, the guy that's holding it right now, he is a representative of MyArcade, who of course is developing it, and he says in no uncertain terms, and I think this exact moment that they have an SD. He's talking about there's HDMI out, so it can basically be a console that you can sit in front of your TV and play it.
Right.
And then, which is where the controllers come in. But also there's an SD card slot, and you can plug in an SD card for new firmware, he says. And then he says, wink, wink. So, I mean,
what do you think he means by that?
You can put your own games in it.
Oh, neat.
Right, which is cool.
Which is what the Game Station from year and a half ago or whatnot. That was the big selling point for that.
And then here's one of the reasons for maybe the 16:9, but this is, I believe, balls of steel that they're showing off right now.
Yeah,
I don't know how it's coming through on. I guess it is. So that's one of the more modern games that's on it. Kind of, I think people were speculating about that.
The video's kind of clunky. Do you know why? Is it just because you got that Toledo internet? Did you get snow up there? Okay.
Yeah, that.
But the balls of steel. If you like, I always go on my Nintendo Switch shop and search Atari to see what's popping up on the Switch that we don't have in the VCS shop. And Balls of Steel is a really cool looking video pinball game. And I don't know if you're into video pinball, but I saw one video where the guy went through and he started playing Missile Command And I think it's your buddy Gen X Grown Up guy.
Yep.
By the way, he has a lot of viewers. I don't know what he does. He must give out cigarettes to the kids or something to watch his stuff. But he he was into that, and I've always been interested in the balls of steel, which it sounds like a SNL sketch or something, like some sort of infomercial. Do you want balls of steel? But it's pinball.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah, it's not pornographic. It's not a science fiction porno gimmick, but it is a pinball game. It's newish, and there's a bunch of different tables, and some of them are Atari themed, and that's really cool. So that's on there for free. Bada boom, out of the box.
Yep,
get it.
With all the other stuff that's on there, just showing off at the top. They have the HDMI out headphone, the USB-C for charging, I would say, and then the SD card slot along with some power buttons, I'm sure volume controls, and all that stuff. So all the connectivity you would expect. They said pairing for the controllers, so I assume it's Bluetooth. It might be whatever that gigahertz radio stuff, but I would hope not for $150. That was
for 150. That needs to be pretty cherry. That needs to be the quality of a Switch. Look at that. Pac-Man's on it.
Yeah, so here's kind of interesting. The menu's a little weird the way they got it set up to me.
Now they have 6 months to fix that, but yes.
Yeah. So they have Balls of Steel, Pac-Man, Jellico, Pico.
Jellico, Pico.
Yeah, and then Atari Atari Recharge. And so they confirmed Centipede Recharge, which is really cool, especially since you got the trackball control there.
That is now. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it just dawned on me. The trackball. We've never been able to play Centipede Recharge with a trackball, have we? Yeah, that's really cool.
And since there's a whole section dedicated to Recharge, I'm hoping that I would say I'm hoping there's 4 to 5 Recharge games on here.
Well, I saw a video earlier, and a guy jumped in there, and there was the Centipede game was in the middle, and it had one on each side saying "coming soon" with an exclamation point.
There you go.
So there's at least 2 more, if not more. They may put the whole damn 10 games on there.
Wouldn't that be so? Then it'd be a pretty good value at that point.
Those are $10 a pop.
Yeah.
So if somebody is not associated or familiar with those games, it would be a way to get that up to 100 bones. Plus, somebody in the comments brought up a great point. Is the GameStation Pro going to have one-line leaderboards? Because if you're familiar with the Recharge series, the VCS has their own leaderboards, and that's kind of what we say is that's like the World Championships. But there's also like the Xbox, the Steam leaderboards for all the Recharge games. But is the GameStation Pro going to have their own leaderboards? We do not know that, but I would assume so.
Now, this does Dew's Kiss. He says it does have Wi-Fi and Bluetooth phone. With somebody said, when he was at CS, he's on one of these YouTube channels. Okay, so apparently he heard on YouTube somewhere, and he also heard that they're going to charge you for the Recharge titles. Now, that I don't like. If you're paying $150 for this thing, I don't like the idea of right away charging you for stuff.
Well, Centipede's going to be included, though.
Right.
We do know. So maybe the others you do have to pay for, but.
Now, I do like the idea of a store maybe or something, but I don't know. Something about that's not sitting right with me. But again, we're getting into opinion, I think, more so than... We're
doing the sin of 24-hour news cycles. We're speculating without any information.
So here...
Now, I've got... Did I close this out? I hope I didn't. I've got a bunch, since you're not feeling too well, I've got some...
yeah, by all means.
I've looked at the lineup. I'm going to take these damn things off because it looks like I'm looking out Elton John's anus with those things on. But here's some interesting stuff that's included, I think. The Balls of Steel pinball games. There's going to be about 140 plus Atari games, and that's 7800, 2600, And the arcade, I think the arcade, and then there's tons of 2600 games. We've played thousands of these things with all these Atari 2600 games.
Yeah.
I don't think too many people are excited, like, ooh, it's got Star Raiders. Even though it will be kind of cool to play that on the bus, I guess, with the number pad. But here's some more interesting items. There's 50 other games that were like Jalico and Pico. And we'll get into that, but there's 5,200 games, not an impressive library really, but they've got something called Meeb Zork. Have you ever played that, or do you know what that is? It looks like a demo. It doesn't even look like a finished game.
Zork?
Huh?
Zork?
Meeb Zork. Meebzork.
I'm not sure. It doesn't
never
ring
heard
a
of
bell
that?
to me. No.
Well, then again, these may be subject to change because they're 6 months away from revealing this. The 7,800 games are kind of what we've noticed. Basketball, cool. Asteroids, you love Asteroids. That's like your favorite version of Asteroids.
Yeah.
Desert Falcon, Food Fight, Motorcycle, Ninja Golf, Fatal Run, Scrapyard Dog. A lot of those would cost you a lot of money to get physical copies, so that's kind of cool. But again, no Alien Brigade, of course, no Midnight Mutants, no Planet Smashers, and no Homebrew. And it would be interesting, John, if they did include some of Bob's, some of Muddy's, some of Vlad's games, some of Revan Tully's games. But as of now, we do not know.
Right.
The arcade stuff looks really good. And there's some weird things in here that I'm unfamiliar with. They've got Asteroids 1 and 2. They have Berserk.
There you go.
They just purchased Berserk and they got it last year. Black Widow, cool. Centipede, cool. Cloak and Dagger, very cool. Crystal Castles. Finally, people can play this thing with a trackball, which is the biggest. Everybody would love Crystal Castles. If you like Pac-Man, I don't know why in the world you don't like Crystal Castles. It's the only reason you don't like Crystal Castles is because you haven't played it with a trackball. Right. Food Fight, Frenzy, like Berserk. Gravitar, iRobot, which is a really interesting game.
I like iRobot.
I do too, and it's very difficult. But it's going to be really cool to be able to hold that in your hand and kind of look at it because it is a trip. Major Havoc, which is a cult classic that uses the paddle controller or the spinner. Millipede, Missile Command, Pool Shark. I didn't even know they had a game called Pool Shark. Quantum, which is a game made by a girl. Then there's something called Runaway and Sky Raider. I've never heard of either one of those games. And then Superbug, but they also have Super Breakout, Tempest, and Warlords. They got M Network games, but no official Intellivision games. And the Pac-Man games, there's 3 of them going to be included so far. One of them is the terrible 2600 game. Nice. That's pretty interesting to me that Namco went along with this.
Yeah, and I think that bodes well, though. I don't know. Again, it's kind of MyArcade's kind of the intermediary.
Right.
But they are working with Atari here. So, we have big dreams and ambitions of other things from now.
All right, so I did a little digging, and there's something that may interest people. I know people are probably upset that there's not going to be.
Vinny, I got to jump off for a quick second. So
okay, everybody say a prayer for my buddy. He lives in Toledo, and everybody knows that the food that they eat up, and they have to get their trays from the automat out of the same place they treat the water. So say a prayer. They're always getting typhoid up there. But so here, Chad, I'm going to talk to you guys directly. But I know a lot of people are speculating or we're hoping there would be some Jaguar games on this. I don't know if that's going to happen. It probably isn't. It seems like that's always a nightmare. But in the Pico catalog, they do have The Humans, which was a game released for the Jaguar. And I wanted to bounce off John. I think that's the name of, I think it was called something else. When it was on the Jaguar, if it was either The Humans or not. They also have a Mega 3D Noah's Ark, and I know a lot of people for some reason like those religious titles, or they're very rare. But yeah, I mean, so now that we're looking at it, how excited are we about this collection? Is it just, are we getting fatigued? That's one of my questions too. Are we getting too much stuff, buying stuff over and over and over again? with the user interface, with the paddle, with the joystick or the D-pad and the number pad and the trackball. Is this the dream to have this in the palm of your hands and have the actual official ways to play these games where you're not trying to drive the centipede around with a D-pad, and you're not playing Tempest with a D-pad, you're not playing Crystal Castles with a joystick, God forbid, because there's games like Quantum that you just can't play unless you have a trackball. So is this the dream, or is this, are we getting fatigued now, or is this different enough and it's exciting enough to keep us interested? I will tell you this, I think is interesting about Atari. They keep releasing hardware, and they're partnered with other companies that are releasing hardware. And it just seems like they keep doing enough to make it interesting. Because I know we all got flashback fatigue. So let's go back and read some of these lovely, I can't put them on the screen, but I can read them out loud. Boop, boop, boo. Even though they said it, oh, that's what you said there. Oh, Intellivision will not be available for this unit. I can see somewhere down the road that Atari includes Intellivision titles as possibly as separate purchases somehow. And that's the other thing too, is they just bought Intellivision. Intellivision always used a number pad, and you would think that's a no-brainer. I have a feeling it's going to use the VCS store to download the remix titles and some other titles. That's a great idea too. I don't know how they would implement that. They have a hard time with the VCS. The device has a paddle, not a spinner. That would be great for something like Pong. Well, to me, that's the same thing. I understand. Well, maybe I don't. What is the difference? There's a spinner. The spinner you can just spin and it freewheels, doesn't it? Is that the difference between a paddle and a spinner? You got to understand, I'm not technical. A lot of these guys that do these shows and stuff like that, I just play the games. I'm pretty stupid when it comes to a lot of this stuff, especially the new stuff. Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, that kind of stuff. I'm really dumb. It's a thumb-sized trackball. I can't imagine playing on a thumb-sized trackball would be anywhere satisfying. Hey, this guy, so I watched a video, the Gen X guy growing up or whatnot. He was playing, and look at the position. So he's playing a game, but he's got and he kind of had to he was playing Missile Command as a demo, and he kind of had this to turn it to play it. So ergodynamically, is it going to be a nightmare to play, especially that we're all getting in our 40s, 50s, and 60s now? Is it going to hurt our hands trying to play a trackball with a thumb and you pushing up there? I don't know. It may be wonderful, but who knows? We may sit there and all get carpal tunnel and walk around like we got, those gauntlets on our arms, like we all own personal hawks. The Atari Switch 2. That's very funny. I was actually looking up the Atari or the Nintendo Switch, Hugo, and wondering why they even need a Switch 2. It costs a lot to port games over from one platform to another, and I have a feeling that this is going to use the VCS OS. Again, the VCS has tons of trouble even just operating by itself. Hugo asked if John has morning sickness. He may be pregnant. That's going to be the most beautiful baby in the world. All right, let's see. It seems to me that the Atari game list on the GSG are about the same exact ones for the GSP. Again, we're kind of getting through this fatigue, I think. I think that the gimmick of this are the user interface controls with the paddle, the D-pad, number pad, and the trackball. I think I'll stick with the Atari 50 Plus updates for the Switch now. Hey, I feel you. The only thing that I would say is this is portable. So if anybody has a commute in a big city, or I don't know anybody who plays Atari that's going to be in the back seat of their dad driving around. But if you have commutes, you're on a plane, that type of thing, at least it's in the palm of your hands, and you get to use actual different types of controllers.
I think I saw somebody said the VCS OS. I think this is all MyArcade doing this. I don't think it doesn't look like that's what it's using, at least from what we're seeing here. But again, this was a probably purely for demonstration at CES or whatever.
Well, what's exciting about this, John, to me is that we're 6 months away, and this thing looks like it's ready to ship right now.
Yeah, and that might have been it. Like they might have been trying to iron some things out. Overall, I think I'm still kind of excited for it, but if you got to buy a ton of these games and stuff, that to me that's a negative. Because I think what this
that guy that was a rumor from that guy. I mean, I don't think he knows one way or the other.
Right, but
maybe
if that
he heard
is
something.
If that is true, then what this is really competing with is those Chinese, all-in-one emulation units. That what they got now, Pow Kitty and Amber Nick and all this stuff that does all this. And if you have to pay for the
children,
right, then I don't know. It doesn't seem as good then. But again, that's speculation. The other thing that, in case I have to jump off again, I just want to throw out there. To me,
say that.
If there's no Jaguar or Lynx on there, that's just a huge oversight, if you ask me. And it almost feels like they want to keep iterating on it, maybe, or upgrade, offering upgraded units. I don't know, but I don't know why you wouldn't offer those two things, because they're no longer hard to emulate. So what's the benefit of not having Jaguar and Lynx on your Atari Gamestation Go now?
Well, the Jaguar definitely is novel. I mean, if you're trying to run like Alien versus Predator on this thing, it may not be able to handle it.
I'm sure it could.
Well, I mean, it's still kind of a new area. The Lynx, definitely. The problem with the Lynx is that Atari owns very little licenses of any of that library.
But
yes,
here's the thing, though, is okay, I was just reading something from Hugo. It doesn't matter. They could only put one Lynx game on there, and that's absolutely fine, because they know we're going to add our own games. So we don't care what's included on it.
So you're just saying get the emulator in the thing, and then let us handle the rest. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I see that.
You can have Scrapyard Dog on there, because I know that I think they own that still. You could throw on Atari carts and then let us do the rest,
I would love that. I would love that very much. I would love it long time.
To emulate Jag, you need a power chip. So I don't know.
He thinks you're going to do bare minimum. I'm impressed with this. I love the coloring of this. I love the 70s yellow and orange and black. I've got a Pong table in my main room that we use as a dining table. And we for Christmas, we had a Pong tournament that we got to take all the, we cleaned it off for the party or whatever. And it was we gave away a bonsai Lego tree, which everybody went crazy for.
Nice.
I love that coloring of this. So it makes me a little bit of a mark for that.
Yeah.
Guys, it's on the go, I mean, it's the Atari 50th. I guess you could have on the Switch. I don't.
Right.
But, well, wait a minute. I do. I've just never used it. I could do that. I don't know why I haven't. But this at least was the interfaces that are more closely resemble the arcade. To me, this is all about the arcade again. I think the arcade, when we go back and we do these things and we're excluding all the titles that Atari lost the licensing to and never really had, so we can't do Midnight Mutants and stuff like this, and we can't do Battlezone, and we can't do any of the Midway Atari games type stuff. The arcade games are the best things that they offer in these situations.
Yeah. There is another good comment. So this is like they're pushing this an awful lot. Of course, you brought up the controllers as well. But they introduced a lot of other products. Did you look into those at all, Vinny?
I did not, sir.
So, shoot, let me
and Satoshi Matrix said Mies Bork is a homebrew of the 5200. I saw the gameplay of that to do research for this. It didn't look good. I don't know it's like a Wizard of War platformer, but the guy who was trying to play it kept dying It's kind of like me playing Bounty Bob Strikes Back for the first hour of my life.
Right.
But I was not interested. I was a little disappointed. I'd like Necromancer and Space Dungeon. Put that jive on there. Gremlins. Well, you can't do Gremlins.
Yeah,
you know what they need to do, John? They need to release Gremlins and take the movie tie-in out of it. And just call it like Munchkins or something like that.
So they announced that MyArcade unveiled the Atari edition of GameStation Retro with 2 versions, Go and Mega. Is that the arcade machine?
I don't know. They got an arcade machine they're trying to wheel out.
Yeah, the GameStation Mega is a tabletop arcade cabinet featuring classic wood construction and a vibrant large display. It's a 10.1-inch high-resolution display, wood construction, mechanical joystick, action buttons. So remember they put out the mini and what was it, like mini and micro arcade machines or something?
They're cool looking, but I mean, who would seriously? That just looks good on a shelf. I mean, does anybody really play with that?
No, I don't think. I think they're too small to actually enjoy. I think they're more novelty. Well, this is supposedly a bigger, with a 10-inch screen. It's probably a, what do they call them, a countercade type thing.
Again, so who plays with those?
It's some people. I mean, our arcade machines. Again, I guess they're more of a novelty, but with that one-up arcade seemed to have really.
Those are standing. Well, the ones they also do the smaller ones too, but I mean, like the standing ones, at least it looks kind of cool in the living room or whatever.
Right. So,
Jolt says, hopefully you just have a case of Pac-Man fever. That's the corniest joke we've ever had on the podcast.
So here's the other thing. They announced the GameStation Retro, and that seems to be a Bandai Namco Capcom version of what let me see if I can share this real fast, Vinny.
Please do.
I'll put our faces back up.
Oh my God, look at us. We are adorable. Does the paddle work with Tempest? Yes. I saw a video of that.
And then here.
When is it coming out? It's coming out Q3 of this year. So that's fall.
So this is their GameStation Retro Go. So can you see that?
I can after I take these horrible glasses off.
I was going to say, maybe I can zoom
Beauty
in.
is pain. Now this is $200.
Right. But you get Mortal Fighter, Street Fighter.
Mortal Fighter. Well, you don't feel good, do you?
No.
Can you imagine trying to play Street Fighter on that piece of crap?
Well, that's where the joystick comes in, I think, because I would imagine it would be compatible with both. I doubt they would make it compatible with one and not the other. You would think.
Okay.
And then it looks like they made a consoleized version of the Retro Pro Go. So that they have a whole lineup now of the Atari version, and now they got this retro version. There's your GameStation Retro gamepad. So it's almost like they've been doing, just giving you, because I believe with the previous handheld they had, you could get the Atari 50th one, or you could get the Galaga version, and then they had whatever. Same thing with the thing I showed off here. You know, this handheld, you could get the Capcom version or whatever. So it's, again, is Atari, are we hoping too much for this? Is it just the Atari version of this new line of products they have? Or are we kind of hoping for the world? And
you were sick, and I just kind of alluded to the thing that, are we hit? I've already kind of said it. This is the fatigue. It's, you know how we all loved Iron Man and Captain America and all them Avenger movies, and eventually we were just like, holy crap, I'm tired of it. I'd rather watch Terms of Endearment this weekend. I'm just sick of the superhero movies. Are we approaching too much stuff, the same stuff over and over? And it always seems like they add a wrinkle. I mean, the Balls of Steel franchise is very interesting. We don't know about Recharge, but again, Lynx, they should throw one game or two games on there, and Jaguar as well with the Perm Jaguar emulator, and let us go at it.
Yeah,
MyArcade took too long to put this out. I've already got all this Evercade stuff. Again, I mean, eventually people are like, you know what? I've got a lot of money tied up in this kind of stuff, and it's not even real official Atari products. These are kind of, I don't know if they're cash cows or not. I definitely want one of these.
Yeah, I think it's a cool novelty.
It may be too big though. You know, like you observed, it's bigger than the Switch. It's much taller than the Switch, and so you can't put this in your back pocket.
Yeah, I think the guy's hand comes on. You can see how big it is.
And that guy's a midget.
Yeah.
It has a stand like the Switch does too, guys, if you guys didn't know that. So you can sit there and play with the... Vinny would rather watch Titanic. Titanic was pretty good. You could start it right when they were freaked out by the iceberg. You could start the movie at that point.
Yeah, it could be a 40-minute movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, right? So yeah. For now. But yeah, they also, I guess it depends again what they do. I think, in my opinion, for it to be a success, if they don't have Lynx and Jaguar on it, then I want to see them lean more into the Recharge stuff. I want the pinball stuff to be cool. The controls it has to feel good. I don't want it to feel like junk either.
I don't know if you were here or not, but when I was watching a video and the guy was trying to display Missile Command, he had the thing tilted so he could play with his thumb. So, I mean, there's some questions, man.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. I think it will. It's obviously fun. Like if you gave this to somebody, they'd have and if they like video games at all, they'd have a blast. You just need You need a roadmap and a Native American guide to get you through the games you should try and which ones are like, this game's not very good.
Well, that's the other thing is you want a cultivated library of games. You want them because again, you could go on Amazon and get a thing that has 20,000 games on it right now, not officially licensed by anybody. Problem is that's too wide, too many choices. You get lost. It's like Netflix. You just look through the list over and over until maybe this looks cool.
You just go with whatever they recommend at the top.
Yeah.
This is in the top 10.
So I think curating, like I said, a smaller collection of games and then letting people add their own is a wise idea.
Now, Desperate Dan would like to see a Z Spectrum handheld. What are the chances? Well, Desperate Dan, I think you're going to remain desperate on that.
Yeah. I think was there a Spectrum Mini or am I thinking of something else?
There was an Amiga Mini.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. They do all kinds of this stuff. If enough people want it, they'll do it, I guess. Make a big stink about it somewhere where the people can see it that hold the license. GameStation Go will not play Titanic. Well, isn't there I don't know. I'm too sick.
I would. What you can do with it, if you're interested in kind of conflating Titanic with this thing, is at the end of the movie, instead of dropping the Heart of the Ocean into the ocean, just drop this GameStation Go into the ocean.
There you go.
Piss everybody off. Yeah, man, this thing's $150. That's
I heard $149.99.
Yeah, so $130 is a deal.
The Super Pocket has Lynx games on it. I don't see why this one. Yeah, that's my thought too. It's not like they haven't established that you can play Lynx games out there on other things. So why wouldn't they include it on this? But I think it was Satoshi said that it looks like a lot of the offerings on here is just the same from the GameStation Pro, which is kind of disappointing. So it looks like
this guy says this thing would spit out $100 bills every 10 minutes. You two would complain. I don't know if we're complaining. We're just speculating. I mean, I'm excited about it. I'm a reviewer. I mean, that's what I kind of do with this stuff. I can't program these games. So I'm always looking at the angle to see if there is a problem. I mean, but the thing that makes me a little anxious is just, we've got the 50th anniversary collection. I've got this thing here that's got all these Atari games on it. I got Atari games over here. I got this Super Pocket.
Right. Yeah.
What is the driving force for this? So that's what
the driving force is, again, the trackball controller and the number pad and stuff. Yeah. That stuff is what needs to be done really well, I guess. Ultimately, I guess that's where the focus should be. That's the new edition. That's what you're getting for your money, as opposed
new edition. Bobby Brown.
Yeah, there you go. That's what you're getting, as opposed, from getting the last MyArcade thing or the last Atari thing. So I guess really they need to get those right, and they need to utilize them in more than just 5 games or 5 good games or whatever.
Help me out with this, because I didn't know if I was right or wrong. I think I'm wrong, as always. But the Jaguar had a game called The Humans. Now, is that with The Humans, the Sega version, and then the Jaguar version of that game was called something else?
Yeah, it was called Dino Dudes.
Okay, well, there is Dino Dudes, but known as The Humans is in this game. I was curious to see if that was going to be the Jaguar version, but apparently it's a Genesis or Super Nintendo version.
Yeah, they renamed it to Dino Dudes.
But Dino Dudes is the Jaguar version, right?
Right. Okay. I think it was originally called The Humans, and they changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Satoshi says the Genesis version is included.
Word.
Cafe Man, good to see you. Here.
I agree. This is the thing I have a problem with emulation and stuff and all these Atari 50th. You get people, first of all, emulation is not 100% accurate. With a lot of Atari games, it's pretty close, but it's tough to play these games. And I feel like John and I are like we hope these Atari games are like ambassador type products to get out and get new people. And then if you're trying to play Crystal Castles with a joystick, it's god awful, and same thing with Tempest. So yeah, this is a step in the right direction for that, at least.
It would be awesome if they had Marble Madness on there. I mean, again, that trackball opens up so much stuff, but
again, I guess with the SD card, you can put whatever you want on there.
But the issue we had with the GameStation Pro was you couldn't use the dial control for some of the stuff that you put on it. It had to be like programmed into it to work with that. Right. So yeah,
you're exactly right about that. You're exactly right about that.
Yeah, so it looks like the pinball machine might just be Balls of Steel pinball that MyArcade is including or also selling.
They're selling a pinball game.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up.
So it's just Balls of Steel. So this would be... By the way, the screen on this, guys, if you haven't seen it before, 16 by 9. John mentioned that earlier between pukes. And you can actually turn this thing almost completely flat and you can still see. Like a lot of these game devices, when you start turning the controller or the function or the damn thing, what in the world's wrong with my English? When you start turning the thing around, it starts to gray out, and it looks perfect no matter what angle you're looking at.
Let me see. I'll just look up MyArcade CES 2025. I'm pretty sure our friend Gen X showed off all this stuff. So let me.
Is he your friend now?
No.
Am I your friend?
No.
That hurts. I knew that was the answer.
I mean, you knew it, but you still asked. See, that's why I like you. You have hope. I like to crush it.
I don't live in Toledo.
Yeah, right.
Shadow of the Beast. Somebody wants to know if any of these handhelds. No, that is a Sega property, right?
Yeah, but
you could put your own
Shadow of the Beast. I think you're thinking.
Oh, I'm thinking of Altered
Beast.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I don't know. It depends if it's abandonware or not, because that seems to be what all this stuff is. Okay, here's Vinny's buddy.
We made out once.
Yeah.
Your thing is not doing too hot.
Yeah, why can't I? I just want to show the lineup of products. So there was the one we're talking about. Hold on. There's
That's
the pinball
games.
machine. So that's the Atari
Oh, what?
Pinball Player Pro.
Okay. This
And
guy who says that we complain about everything. This thing looks ridiculous.
It says balls of steel. It looks like it includes 7 tables. I don't know. It's got a screen on it for the playfield. I don't know. This
Hard
doesn't
pass.
that doesn't get me too excited. I'm sorry.
That looks. If somebody caught me playing with that, I would feel embarrassed.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's
no. If people like it, that's fine. But
absolutely.
I can't get excited for it. I'm sorry.
No. Look at that badass thing though. If that works, worth it.
Yeah, and I think so. Like the GameStation Pro, the TV one had Super Nintendo, Sega, and something else. So you'll be able to play not only MAME versions of games, but also your Eternal Champions and whatnot with this stick. That's a deep cut.
I was going to say Eternal Champions.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that looks like there's a screen on there to me. Somebody said there isn't a screen on it.
Well, it looks like a screen to me, and it lights up. Maybe it's just Atari lights up in the middle, and I thought I was assuming the screen, but
yeah, maybe it is just a light up, because it basically looks like they're taking the Joy-Con idea where you slipped it onto the.
It looks like the Switch. Looks like the Switch.
Why not copy the Switch? I mean,
but again, we're gonna
Mr. Soy, right back at you, buddy.
And one of us doesn't feel too hot.
Yeah. Vinny, I'm sorry you don't feel good.
You know what, man? I've been around so many sick people and taking sick people to the hospital. I am so fortunate that I'm not ill. I keep feeling like it's coming any day.
I can't. But find again, the guy. Is that the guy that said we're negative on everything?
No,
I can't find his comments. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, it's somewhere there. But it, the thing that looks like the Switch controller is cool. But man, like somebody mentioned before, a thumb-sized trackball on that would be at our advanced ages. I know you're young, even though you get sick all the time now. Yeah. At our advanced ages, is that going to give us all carpal tunnel trying to horse around with that? It is a screen, somebody says. Good. Somebody agrees with me.
Right. I thought it was a screen too, which I thought was kind of interesting.
Somebody says, flaws and all, I still enjoy the VCS. I love the VCS. I feel like that's my own personal game system. It's like my friends play it that like Atari, and they're made by Atari. And even though Atari hurts me constantly by not giving me free shit to review on my channel, I still support them.
So I think this cabinet was their Atari lineup, and the one next to it kind of gets into more of their other licensed product lineup. I don't think he shows that one.
That pinball thing looks really lame, dude. And I like pinball pretty well. I wish I was good at pinball. I'm terrible at it. I think you're supposed to shake the machine. I always feel like that's going to hurt it.
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder what the retail is on that. I didn't look at that at all. But
how much will you buy that for?
$50. I'm thinking
you'd give that much for it. I mean, I think that's worth that. But it's only balls of steel.
It looks like maybe that might be the same screen. It was probably the same 16:9. They just put it.
I think it's smaller. Man.
Think so?
If you go back to where you see all three of them on top of each other, hot, by the way, that's smaller.
But probably.
I know there's a perspective thing happening here, top down, but I think that's much smaller.
I'll wait for it to go on clearance.
I think that's one of those things that will. Yeah. The pinball table will be 100 bones, a bill. Ooh. MyArcade does the bare minimum to maximize profit. I guess everybody does, right? I mean, they just got to. Well, they're not going to put a lot of great shit in there that they don't need to.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not feeling too hot. I don't want to. Yeah,
All right, let me go through these comments since we want
right.
to, and then if you want to chime in, then we'll call it a night, bro. I'm glad you did this. You've been doing this for almost 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Not the same operating system as the VCS. So it's not going to have that. Somebody mentioned maybe the VCS downloadable store. These are Satoshi says throwaway annual products. Got to watch out for that. You know,
I mean, that's been there. That's how MyArcade and some of these other companies work. So it could be that they plan on iterating on it,
and that's why we're here critiquing it and giving hope to it. Maybe this is something that's like, wow, this was the cool thing for the next 10 years.
I'm hopeful for it.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah. I think the pinball machine's kind of cool. You know what? Kinda. It's like, you know, if I was in a closet, nobody could see me. I'd probably be in there going hee hee hee. But I don't know. Yeah. To emulate the Jaguar, you need a power chip. I think you put that up already. I'm kind of behind. GameStation Pro has 5200 star raters, which uses the number pad. Yeah. I like the color scheme. Yeah, we're way behind. I would be most interested if I bought. What are the specs for Balls of Steel? It was running it. I don't know, but it seems pretty. You know, it's a modern game, and it looks good. And I watched the guy play it, and again, this thing is 6 months out, and it was playing without any sort of jitter. A lot of times when you have one of those pinball games that you zoom into the pinball, it doesn't look good. Me's Bark is an unreleased prototype game on the 5200 and is somewhat unfinished. It's very strange. The paddle will work with Tempest, but not work well. I think it's better than the joystick.
I was say we don't know how well. That's speculatory, which is fine. We're here to speculate, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
If this can operate lava lamps and 8-track theater, this might get more media attention. Absolutely, especially in the underground college radio circuit out in California.
I have my 4 review copy by tomorrow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's scoot down. I'm way too far back. I only want the pinball machine. Obsidian's getting obsessed with the pinball machine. I'm not trying to sound negative, but their history would suggest that the GameStation Pro will be obsolete and replaced by something else after year one. Hey, me and John talked about this last week. The 2600 plus and the 7800 plus, are those going to be obsolete? Because they're not really coming out with, they're not letting us know they're coming out with any more carts. Let's hop down. They can keep Pac-Man 2600.
Yeah.
The problem is that, boy, Satoshi is coming in here with the knowledge tonight. The problem is that the ZX Spectrum did not have joystick ports. The games were all keyboard. It wouldn't be good for a handheld.
Be like a BlackBerry. I had a BlackBerry. Those things weren't that good.
Jaleco and Pico interactive games are literally abandonware. Does that mean like public domain went out on them and nobody ever bought the licenses and they're just
something like that?
That doesn't mean they're bad though.
No.
Trackball may be the selling point if they got Marble Madness. Okay. Good evening.
That's your soy boy.
Mr. Soy. The tabletop pinball is good for kids.
There you go.
You two are sexy. Eternal Champions Challenge from the Dark Side was the shit.
Yeah.
This is a 2DS. Very funny.
Yeah.
I was Trident player on Eternal Champions, Sega CD. The VCS is awesome! Exclamation point. Just random.
There you go.
I'm trying to burn through these, John. I know you want to get out of here.
Yeah.
I think we're caught up pretty much.
Yeah.
Atari should make an OS to replace any Windows computer to let small independent software makers make software for it. Again, John and I are not technical people. We are the thugs and the sex symbols of Atari. We are not the brains. And so, was that real or a joke?
No, that was a joke.
Okay, I was about to say you need to get off screen because of course, I don't know if you puke on this podcast, it may actually shoot our numbers up. Well, anyway, I'm pretty much done talking about this. I do want to say thank you, John, for letting us do this podcast again. I'm sorry I won't disappoint you this time, and hopefully you won't fire me again. I do
let us get a doctor's note. You know,
that's all you needed. I mean, an email. You just sent me. I need a legit doctor's note. I would have done better.
Yeah. Not Dr. Feelgood. I need real.
So if anybody cares about my junk, we're writing a new movie. I've got a bunch of movies on Tubi and Amazon and stuff like that. We're writing a new movie now. So John, you got to come down and be a part of one of these movies, man. We got this one is. This one's got some good stuff in it, and it's called Showdown in Secret City. It's about Oak Ridge AI supercomputer and AI taking over the world, and how 4 asshole idiots are trying to stop it. It's going to be a funny one, and check it out on bigandfunkyproductions.com, and also check out my Atari 7800 review site and article site, Atari7800forever.com. I had a trip up to Baltimore. I took somebody up to Baltimore the other day. Almost got snowed in, John.
Oh, I bet. You
went
on Friday?
I had to race the storm back and couldn't sleep. I got one of those new cars. It's got it keeps the car in between the lanes and cruise control. And if you almost hit something from the front, it slows the car down. I was probably snoozing too much. It was dangerous going through more rush hour traffic, but I made it back for the podcast.
There you go.
I'm going to purchase it. It has a Fuji. Dude, I think me and John have said that about 1 million times.
Yep. All right. Appreciate all the comments and everything, guys. I'm going to have to jump off here, Vinny, unless you want to be stuck reading comments or with a dead stream for a little bit.
Hey, we did an hour. You're a trooper. Everybody give it up for John. He did an effing hour. And he's puked twice during the show, which on screen might have. In pro wrestling, there's a saying, John. If you're going to die, do it in the ring. And you should have just puked.
Wasn't there a wrestler that pooped his pants or something?
Oh, all the time.
Ring? Oh, that's common? Oh.
Pretty common. You don't want that to happen. But we kind of haze the guys that's happened to. But yeah.
Have you ever pooped your pants?
No, but I do have a professional wrestling. We can end the show on this. I do have a professional wrestling record. I wrestled a guy from bell to bell who had a raging erection the entire match. And I'm the only person in pro wrestling history that had a televised match where the guy had a boner. And the thing was, my new valet at the time was a very blonde and buxom and sweet and sexy valet. She was a burlesque dancer, and she talked him up. She basically fluffed him up for about an hour. She could probably talk you into completion if we're going to keep this G-rated. Yeah. And so it was kind of funny. I kept dropping him on his penis the whole match, and he was in a lot of pain.
So did he win, or did you?
I won, baby. Funky figure 4, baby.
I would say because his finisher was the rear naked choke, right?
Hey, if you put a rear naked choke on me, I would have tapped out. Get that away. Get that out of exit only, pal.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming in. I got to jump off. We'll see you in the next one.
We'll sound happy about it.